Hey, my name is Dr. Jeff. I'm a pharmacist. Here's the story of how I became financially free with vacation rentals at the age of 33. It's 9 o'clock at night. Was just a really cool scene, and I think it would help a lot of people who maybe were in my situation. The first thing you have to understand where I'm coming from is I came from a pretty privileged position. Like I was 25 years old. I went through 8 years of school and I made $170,000 my best year as a doctor of pharmacy after I graduated, as a pharmacy manager specifically. So the money overall was good by the definition of the standard people is what I've heard. Yeah, I'm in my vacation rental right now, setting up this home, going to be ready in about a week, and just kind of comparing it to what it would make as a rental versus like what it would make in my pharmacy. Just to give you guys some context, this rental is a 2-1 duplex in South Carolina, and the home was around $240,000, and there's 2 units. Together, those homes will bring in $70,000, so not as much as my pharmacist income. But I'm going to explain to you why it's actually more significant than working as a pharmacist. But before that, let's see, get it for your guess. Anyways, so yeah, around 2017, I graduated from pharmacy school, and I made $170,000 my best year. Not right out of the bat. I think when I started off, I was around $120,000 per year, making around $65 an hour, which is really good. It's pretty tough to find any other job that will do that pretty much out of the bat. But here's the downside. It took me 8 years of schooling. I built almost no other skills. It cost almost $200,000 worth of student debt, and I was working and studying at the same time, which ended up taking probably, I don't know, 12 hours a day just for school and of course eating and your activities of daily living. Like during this time when I was not making money, remember, the first 8 years is just schooling and you're going into debt. I mean, you're just learning about like molecules and how drugs work. So you're not building any skills that would add to your income besides like if you get this pharmacy degree. So it's kind of risky. So if I didn't pass my classes, I'd either get held back or it would just take me longer to pass. And I'd have to spend more money. The tuition isn't refunded. There's no like forgiveness on student loans, which kind of sucks. So in addition, I was taking a $200,000 risk to invest in this career or skill, which honestly, again, at 170 is pretty high. If you know any pharmacists, they'll most of the time tell you 170 is pretty high for a pharmacist. I was doing really well. I'm not saying this to brag. I honestly don't like. I still don't think it's actually a lot, especially comparing to like what I see my friends do now. They're blue collar workers. A lot of them just have businesses and they're just way more successful financially than me. And they don't have a doctorate. Some of them didn't even go to college. And yeah, I'm not saying that's the norm, but just because I've seen people do it and knowing what I'm personally capable of, if I were to go back and tell my 18-year-old self to pursue this risky career for $200,000, not know whether I would actually like pass my classes, plus whether after inflation and all that, if $170,000 is even worth it in 8 years, because again, of inflation, the risks were just so high. And if I were to tell my younger self, hey, you know, you're going to real estate, invest $200,000 on this home, you'll get your first rent check in 8 years, and you got to make sure you do everything like absolutely perfect, and you can't fail, and there's no refunds, you can't sell your degree, I would probably say that's a pretty high risk. And again, like now I'm in real estate, I do AirBNBs for a living. This is how I make the majority of my money, and I help other people retire early within 2 to 5 years with real estate. I don't believe like healthcare was made to be a career where people work for money. Like it should be a career where you serve to help people and treat people. But for someone who's 18 and who doesn't understand that there are a lot of better ways to make money if you don't have a specific route and you don't want to take the risk of a $200,000 investment, I would say probably not go in this field unless you just absolutely, again, love pharmacy or you love healthcare and you want to be a part of it. But it's probably one of the worst investments you can make financially. Because as a real estate investor now, like in this Airbnb that I'm working on currently, I will spend on these types of homes. Like we can use like a 10% vacation home loan, not this one specifically, but a lot of our homes will do like 10% vacation home loans, put 10% down on a home that's like $150,000 to $200,000, and we expect to get all of our money back within the year. And that's what I was trying to say. Like, yeah, it's only expected to make $70,000, and maybe after expenses we keep around 30. I'm hoping that's not accounting for property manager. If you hire a property manager, it's a little bit more expensive, and you'll keep less. With that said, it becomes even more passive. And depending on the loan terms you're given, you can even improve your returns even better. So imagine like, say like, hey, yeah, maybe I needed $100,000 to close this home plus furnish both sides and renovate both sides. If you took out a $100,000 loan, pay 12% interest on it, that's only $1,000 every single month. And from what I've told you, if you believe me, the requirement is you actually must believe and don't think I'm just blatantly lying to you, and that these duplexes can make $70,000. $1,000 a month is definitely payable if you're making $70,000. And even if you only made $30,000 because of the mortgage and the other expenses that we always have to account for, you can still afford $1,000 per month. So if you just get the right loan terms, buy things with like private money or like credit card loans or 401k loans like I've used in the past, that's what a true real like good real estate investment is. And the thing is, like, you can mess up in this business, you can sell this property, you get most of your money back, if not more. And that's what people do when they flip homes. And that's kind of like how like I encourage people to move forward nowadays. If they are stressed about work, they don't know if they can keep on working in pharmacy for a while, because a lot of my clients are technically pharmacists and my friends are pharmacists. And I live in San Diego, California, but now I am working all around the country, mainly in rural areas or small or mid-sized cities, not millions of population. Like the city I'm in right now, it's barely 100,000 population. Like it's not that large. Versus in San Diego, there's almost a population of 2 million people just in the city. And there might even be more now because the new numbers are coming out soon. But these homes will make a lot of money. And I first noticed that like when I was maybe at age 26 or 27 and I just graduated. It was my second year as a pharmacist after graduating in 2017, and I started getting tired because I remember working about 28 out of 31 days in this one October. And because I covered other pharmacies and I drove to other areas in the state, I was just pretty much always on the road or working, which really took a toll on my work ethic and kind of just what I imagined being a doctor would be. I mean, like, technically, yeah, I'm a pharmacist, but the degree is doctor of pharmacy. We have a doctorate. I don't call myself a doctor in front of my patients, but technically, again, like, you would expect someone who study that much, even like PhDs or doctor of physical therapy, they study for a long time and they don't get paid that much. And it's tough. I mean, like I feel for them. And if someone ever told them when they were 18 that you would make a lot of money as a doctor, or if you got your doctorate or something prestigious or noble that's going to take care of the world, they're partially bamboozled financially because they're now stuck in a lot of debt with a really cool job that they love, fortunately, hopefully. But a lot of my friends, they're stuck with the debt and the job was just okay, is what they've discovered. So that's kind of the risk you take going into education overall. And that pain I experienced of like that first October I was telling you about, where I worked a lot, really pushed me to find another way to live. And it brought me to a lot of different types of investments. Like I considered maxing out my 401k, which I'm glad I didn't. But what I did was match my 401k, which was one of the best decisions I ever made. So free advice: if you have the option to get a 401k match, please match the maximum that your company will let you. It's a really good free 100% return, almost risk-free. I did side hustles. I used to put together furniture for people. For like $100, specifically beds. I would use this app called TaskRabbit, and it gives you odd jobs. And I was doing that as a pharmacist to kind of see if like that had any potential, like growth potential. Like, could I make it into a sustainable side hustle? Because I didn't think I could keep on going with pharmacy for another 30 years. Again, I was 26 to like 29 years old when I was like discovering all these side hustles. And you got to kind of like put yourself in my shoes. Like, yeah, it might be quite cushy and the job was good, but imagine if you just thought your job was okay and then you have another 35 years of it. I would say I'd grow quite uninspired, especially with no plans to go much higher besides becoming a district manager. But the problem with becoming a district manager, I realized, was it takes about like 10 to 15 years. And that was just not going to work with me. I'm not okay with sitting back and someone telling me, hey, you have to wait 15 years for you to get a promotion, like a decent sized promotion. And I also didn't want to play the corporate game. I never wanted like to feel like someone had power over me where they could just fire me one day if I was doing a bad job. And what I've learned, like being in corporate for so long, is like as you get higher and higher, it's much easier to fire the people up top. Well, not much easier, but like their job is at higher risk because there's a certain standard that's required of them. Versus like when you're towards, like stocking shelves and stuff, like there's only so much I can mess up when I was stocking shelves at the pharmacy counter. Like I might have put the product in the wrong spot. And now someone loses $3 and they create a little bit of a complaint. Versus like when you're up top and you have poor management skills and you lose the company $1 million, or you're not performing and you're not making them $1 million, then they're likely going to fire you and find someone else. And you're easily replaceable. And me knowing that in the back of my mind also pushed me to essentially become a 33-year-old pharmacist who achieved financial freedom through some sort of instrument. Vacation rentals specifically in this case, but I just haven't discovered that yet. So yeah, I was doing all these side hustles, putting together beds. I tried Instacart, where you could deliver groceries. I tried Uber, which I was just not, I hardly even like cars, so driving was not a good idea. And I'm not a good driver. I'd probably get in a car accident if I was on the road too much. Not a good job for me. I didn't make enough money for the time invested in it. I might as well just work a pharmacy shift and make $500 because I made $60, $65 to $75 an hour, 8 to 12 hours. Very privileged situation. I understand that. And if you're going to complain about my situation, like, he's spoiled brat, well, this video isn't for you. You should honestly just click off now, or at least leave me a bad comment so it picks up some traction, help out this video a little bit. So thanks for watching if you got this far. But yeah, the point is, like, I had 30 more years. I was 27 years old. I was tired of work, a lot of debt, a lot of time invested into this, and I wouldn't wish on another 18-year-old, to be honest, if they're starting. And I make this video more for those people, plus anyone who's maybe like 25 to 45 years old and feeling the way I did. I'm 33 now again. Like, I'm in a decent position where I can be in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina, opening boxes, putting together an Airbnb so I can make extra money. Plus, this one's not even for me. It's actually for a friend slash client of mine because we help our clients. And that's technically my business now. I do this for fun. And I live off my rentals. And if that sounds exciting for you, you're definitely my type of person. And if you're someone who's not willing to just sit down and be okay with just mediocre, this is definitely the video for you, because it definitely takes a lot of work to do this, to become financially free through vacation rentals at 33, as someone who made $170,000. Imagine, like, it's really scary to try and replace that amount of money. Like, if I only made $60,000, I can buy one or two of these and I'd replace $60,000. For me, the barrier to replace that amount of money was almost 4 to 5 homes in these Airbnbs that make $70,000 a piece. And if I wasn't as patient as I was, I could have easily seen myself getting deterred if I had a shorter outlook on what this business could be. And thankfully, we're on track to probably pull in $1 million to $2 million in 2025, which is why I'm like so shocked about like what we're told when we're younger about like how risky business is and like, oh, you're probably going to fail. But if you took that same mentality that you did through pharmacy school or any type of like high performance career, I honestly think that if you're going to succeed in something like pharmacy, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to succeed in something like business. The only people I think who don't really succeed in business are people who haven't like sat and like thought about it, haven't done anything to improve, haven't tried to improve, haven't looked at the business. They might be just be in the wrong business, or they continued on making bad moves over and over and didn't learn. But when you see that product like this, like these Airbnbs where you can buy it for the prices that I mentioned earlier and get your money back within a year, why wouldn't you try this? And then it's just going to take some heart to keep like not quitting. It's going to take some courage so you can actually step out of your comfort zone and make the right decisions that need to be made. You need a little bit of education, which is why you're on these channels and why you're learning all this right now. But you're going to lose either way, no matter what you do. You're going to lose in the fact that you're sitting on the sidelines, not collecting any money, waiting to learn and not making the mistakes you need to improve your life or get better. Or you just go and try it and make the mistakes you need to get through anyway, because you're going to fail either way. Learn them fast and get better so that by the time you're maybe starting, you would have already learned all those mistakes and your next rentals are way better than they would have been if you were to wait a year, you know? So it's the only option, honestly, is to just make the decision now. If you think it's a good idea and you don't think I'm lying to you, and you actually believe that Airbnbs and all the other people in Airbnbs aren't just blatantly lying to you that you can make money in this business, is to just start now. You can just sell the business or sell that building if you really don't like it, to be honest. It's not like school where the investment's gone. You can sell this building, you know, like it's a little bit more safe. What happened next was like I bought these first 2 rental properties as I was like floating around and after those Octobers, and the first 2 rentals were just long-term rentals, and I thought it was gonna be like some sort of magical thing where like, hey, I bought these homes and now boom, I'm rich. But it was nothing like that. It was like I bought these 2 long-term rentals using a bunch of money I saved from my W-2 income and advice from the best mentors ever, my parents, who have also been, again, successful real estate investors. And to me, they are the prime example of like no excuses. I mean, they were Cambodian immigrants who came from a war-ridden country that was threatening their family with murder, and then came here with nothing. My mom literally just got off the phone and asked me, hey, if I submit some forms, will they send me a confirmation immediately? Because she didn't understand that, yeah, most of the times when you submit forms online, they'll send you a confirmation that says, thank you for submitting your form. She thinks that you literally have to wait till Monday until someone actually gets in the office for someone to respond to you. And they're multimillionaires, great, super smart, super hardworking. And I'm going to make a video about them one day about like why my mom and dad are my heroes, probably pretty soon actually. So if you guys subscribe and follow, you get to see that really cool video of one of the most like incredible stories I've heard in my life. But yeah, you can do this. Like you find these good mentors, you ask for help, and that's what I did. It could be very embarrassing, but the more you get comfortable asking for help and the more you just realize everyone's just learning things, and more people are willing to help you than you think. No one's making fun of you for trying to become better. And if they are, why would you even want to be around them anyway? If you tell someone, hey, I want to learn how to invest in real estate so I can better my life, and they laugh at you, probably wasn't even worth. They're probably not even like worth being in your life. I should just move on. Like that's just not someone you want to be around. So at that point, there's literally no loss to asking someone for help. It's like you're only hurting yourself. So yeah, I did something that people would say is embarrassing. I asked my parents for help, but I don't think it's embarrassing. And if my parents came to this country with the thoughts that they wanted to give their sons a better life and they had the chance to, why would I not give them that chance to just because I'm stubborn or I feel like embarrassed to ask for help? So if that's you and you're like, oh, I want to do everything on my own, that's not the right way to think, especially if you have like people who are on your side who want to support you and want to see you do well. You'd be doing them a favor if you did well. And then who knows, maybe you can come back and be like, hey, mom and dad, I found out this really cool, sick Airbnb strategy. Do you want me to help you set up one? And then, I don't know, that's just how you could potentially give back. But I just think it's really dumb where if someone, because that used to be me. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to ask for my parents. I want to like do this on my own. And I just like really regret not asking for advice sooner and just communicating to them like how I feel about like business and life. The best things I've ever received were always like on the other side of like just one really hard conversation. So if I had this conversation with my parents, maybe when I was like, I don't know, I graduated from pharmacy school, I'd probably be doing better. Or if even like maybe I was still an undergrad and I tell my parents like, hey, maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I should just like join you guys on the family business. Would that be a better idea? I wish I would have said that so they could have been like, oh, maybe Jeff doesn't want to become a pharmacist. Or maybe he doesn't want to like study for 8 years. Because at that point, I really didn't know what I wanted as an 18-year-old to 22-year-old. I just thought it sounded cool. People agreed with the track that I picked. So I figured if so many people are saying becoming a pharmacist is a good thing, it must be a good thing. And what I learned later on is like, hey, you know what? Most people don't really have an idea. And the people I was taking advice from weren't even pharmacists. So how would they know whether like if it's a good field or not? I should have been asking pharmacists. And now that I think back about it, a lot of the pharmacists I've talked to, even when I was younger, and I have a really good mentor about that. He was a pharmacy manager. He like kind of explained to me, but I kind of brushed it off. He's like, hey, look at me. I'm 30 years old and I have nothing to show for it. And I was like, oh, maybe he's just bad at spending money. And that was like such a stupid thing for me to not like take seriously back then. So I wish I listened to that mentor a little bit sooner, just so I can get a better idea of like what it's really like to become a pharmacist. And it was someone I really respected too. But at the end of the day, again, like my decisions are my decisions. I don't regret them specifically, like the decisions. I just regret not taking people's advice more often. And I just wish I was smarter because like honestly the only thing what I currently define smart as like how quickly can you take the inputs or advice from someone and actually integrate it to make sure your life is better? Or how fast can you turn it down? So if you can do that quickly, that's what I actually define as smart. So not how well you can study, how well you can memorize things. It's just like how well can you take the lesson and how well can you apply it to your life, and or either discard it so you never look at it again. Because that's efficient and that's actually going to lead to like good results. Yeah, so I bought these two homes with my parents. So going back to the story, I found that these homes weren't like, it wasn't like something super magical where I would make a bunch of money right away. But what would happen is like over the 7 years, like fast forwarding, these houses have pretty much doubled in price. I haven't paid a single dime towards them, and I actually did a cash out refinance, so they paid me an extra like $70,000 in money I can use today. So now imagining I found this really good investment vehicle, which is real estate. I invested $70,000. I got all my $70,000 back sooner than 7 years because of the refinance. And technically, I have more equity locked up in those homes. They're cash flowing. I don't have to put any more money in the deals. Imagine if I found like a really cool business that cash flow even more, but I still get to keep those benefits of that long-term real estate, which I just got from these two homes. So that's when I discovered something called the BRRRR method, what I thought was going to be like a higher cash flow thing, but what I ended up doing was allowing me to purchase real estate more often. And the next couple of years or so, my parents and I like started looking into flipping properties, but I wanted to rent them still. So, but what essentially happens was I discovered this strategy called BRRRR online, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, and that's going to let you scale really fast. So you're essentially not leaving any money into your homes. You're buying homes at a distressed situation. This one's no longer distressed. It's painted. It's beautiful again. You rehab it and then you rent it out. For us, we're mixing it with AirBNBs nowadays because they make pretty much like triple to 5 times to 10 times the income of long-term rentals. And then we refinance. We take out all the money that we put in the home. So say we put in $100,000 into this home. It's now worth maybe $150,000 more. We'll take out as much money out as we can so we can return the money we put in so we can go and do the same exact thing over. The biggest thing is you got to make sure it cash flows. But knowing what I told you, again, like these duplexes make $70,000 total, 35 each unit. If you get a mortgage at $300,000, it's going to be probably around $2,000 if it's fixed at like 7%. There's going to be obviously other expenses like the electrical and all the utilities and all that stuff, but you can add that up easily, which I've done and I'm not going to talk about in this video. You can go to my website and download my deal analysis cheat sheet if you want to learn more about that stuff. But that's how you do that fast. You buy a home that makes money for you every single month. You make it worth more, and then you pull your money back out, and then you go and do the same exact thing. So as you do one bird deal, maybe add an extra $500 in cash flow. You do your second one, add another $500 in cash flow, and eventually you get to 10. That's $5,000. But imagine you do it with short-term rentals, where I just told you the rents are like 3 to 10 times more. So instead of making just $500 every single month, you'll make $2,000 to $5,000 every single month for these $200,000 rentals. I discovered that when I went to Joshua Tree, California around 2021, where I bought an Airbnb with my partner for like $320,000, $50,000 over asking. But we paid that price partially because we heard about all the good news for Airbnbs and we wanted to learn fast. So yeah, we paid a pretty penny to learn, but the price of the home has gone up. It's made us money. We've done some work to it, so it's probably worth more now also. So for that reason, we got appreciation, we got rental income, the skills to do exactly what I'm doing here, which have brought in $2 million. So as long as, again, you have like the heart to not give up and endurance to keep on going, and like the skills to learn and apply like what to do and what not to do, it's a good business. And the risk is relatively low as long as you keep on going. And this all happened in the span of around 7 years. I started my official like business though, like barely like a year and a half ago. Before it was just like purely rental income. Now I do this again for other people, and that's how I make even more money on top of that. I use the skills I have to teach people how to make money from rental properties, and I hand off that skill to them. And that's technically what my business is. And I will go and set up these properties for people if they don't want to do it. So no excuses, essentially. And if you're worried about money, there's also a book out there called The Book on Low to No Money Down by Brandon Turner. For like $12, you can learn how to buy real estate for free. When that first property in Joshua Tree hit and we made our $12,000 every single month for a little bit, that was when like the light switched in my head. Like, hey, I'm working so freaking hard as a pharmacist, 40 hours every single week to make pretty much what this one property did. Because after all my expenses of $170, I kept about $90,000, which ended up being around like $3,200 every 2 weeks. And this property was bringing in $12,000 every single month. Like how, like imagine like you set up a rental, like a short-term rental for maybe, I don't know, 2 months. It takes you 2 months. And then you go and compare it to your pharmacist job where you spent 8 years of school, $200,000 worth of 40 hours every single week plus. And then I can have this rental where I just answer a couple questions on the phone once in a while and it pays me this. Like I set it up once, I do the work up front once. I'll spend maybe 100 hours on this project, if not less. I'll hire a bunch of people out if I want to work less. And it'll still make money, as long as I'm willing to hold the property and follow the strategies that we discuss in other videos, not this one. And that's essentially my story about like how I retired at 33 years old as a doctor of pharmacy with vacation rentals and truly achieve financial freedom and not really have to work. I built this business not because like I had to go back to work. It's because I got bored of not working. I went back to pharmacy and it wasn't that great. I had no desires to go up in the corporate world. And when there's no desire for growth, I honestly feel like things get kind of boring. So now I take the money I make from my own like personal investments and I shove them into this business, and that's how we got funded. That's when it got even more insane, where I was like, man, I can't believe it was not easy, but not as bad as I thought it would be to make $2 million per year. And for that reason, like me not thinking I'm anything special, but literally just a dude with a box cutter, opening up fake plants, throwing away boxes, can do that. I just don't see why anyone else can't do this. Like if you think about it, like people will pay you for if you can make the money, or if you give them health, or if you give them wealth or education or exercise, something like that. There's a value. Like as a pharmacist, I traded a company's products that they bought for maybe like $100 and sold to other people for like $1,000. But using my expertise, I was able to convince someone to buy this because essentially they needed it. But not everyone needs Ozempic. Not everyone needs to lose weight. There are specific people you're supposed to serve. Figure out who you're going to serve if you're going to the rural Airbnb market like me, and help them. Like people help the people who want to go on vacation, and just make sure they pay for their stuff. Like you run a business to make money. You're a W-2 earner. You go to work to make money. And if not, you're technically volunteering.